So one of the problems with this Westinghouse generator is that they have the pull handle and the maintenance panels on the opposite sides of each other. So this typically then, when mounted on a vehicle, needs to be this way to pull the handle. But then when you need to do that periodic maintenance, you got to disconnect, unbuckle, unlock everything and turn it around to empty oil, to do all that kind of stuff. So it's not very practical. The Honda EU2200i has all the business taken care of on this side. They have the pull handle, and then you have the panel there you can take off. So there's not this back and forth removing this panel and twisting it around. And if you're changing the oil or adding oil once every few days because you're using it extensively, that is a major inconvenience. So here's the dipstick. I'm going to bring the camera around a little bit so you can see. What we're doing here also today is testing a fuel pump. I mean an oil extraction pump here. Recently got. And we'll set this all up. I've also got a probe camera here that we're going to look and see how, what we can see once we get most of the oil out. We'll see what's left. We'll inspect the entrails of it after it, and just kind of play around with that camera and see what we can see inside that oil, if anything at all, inside the oil chamber. So let me get this set up a little better before we start extracting oil. I have to set this all up, and then we'll proceed at that point. One of the problems I have already with this pump is this little short power cable. Apparently they think all you're going to want to do is change the oil in your engine, so they only give you an alligator. This is just one length of cable. You can't detach these alligator things, and this is where your switch is, way over here by the alligator switch. It's not the same format as other like fuel transfer people use. They've got one power here, one going here, and then this kind of comes back to you and you turn it on and off. However, everything's ready to go. But I want to take a peek here before I just start extracting. I want to see what the oil looks like. I want to see just the environment that this tube is going into. We'll extract it, then we'll probe again with the camera. It has a light, and we'll see what's left in there. Kind of what it looks like after we do the extraction. All right, so let's just pop the cap off. See where the oil's at. A little push this way is supposed to be there. Yeah, it needs about, a couple of cc's. And it's very murky in there. My camera should fit in there, so I'm just going to take a quick look. And here we go. We're going inside. And you can see there's the oil where it's at now. It's a little low. It's supposed to be up to this first thread. But that's a lot of oil. Now if we go in and make a left, just with the tip of the camera, we see this environment there where the oil is. It looks like a crankshaft up there, but it looks pretty clean. But it's just a splash box of oil. So that's kind of cool, right? See that? Let me try and change the camera angles here. See there, I'm going in. And then I'm going to turn left again. And I immediately see that up there. Isn't this cool? That's great. Wow. Try another thing. Pull the crank a little bit just to see what it looks like turning. We'll do that beforehand. We can turn it a little bit. Just to watch some of that movement. There it is. There's that movement. All right, so let's go ahead and get that oil swapped out. So I've got the Borescope in there now recording. So let's see if I can sneak this in there so we can actually see this thing sucking out the oil. From the side, the chamber. So I ain't got too far to go. There it is. So let's go back in with the camera. They kind of don't really fit, but let's try that again. They're not really fitting. I've got some of the image in there, so let's start the extraction process and see it from what I can in the video that I'm getting right now. So let me wipe my hands and turn this pump on now. There's the dirty oil coming out. We're watching it in the Borescope. Moving pretty quickly. Working its way up here into the extraction container. We're watching it in the Borescope. It's going down and down and down. We're kind of stuck at this camera angle. I'm going to tilt it. And then tilt it back this way. It's still like swirling it up, and that's kind of cool. Let's see what I can see up. There's the end of it. This thing's actually sucking it all up. Kind of like slurping it up. So I'm going to pull it out and say we're kind of done. Leaving the camera in there. We'll deal with the residuals there in a minute. I'm going to turn the pump off real quick. Then let's check out our work. Now let's check out the inside now that we've extracted all the oil. How'd we do? Wow. That looks pretty depleting. It's not perfect, you know? But let's see if we can splash it around. Now look at that, there's a little lot in there from that back chamber. Alright, we're going in after the extra stuff to see if that actually made a difference. We're going in, we see it in the chamber now. And that looks pretty empty there. Yeah. So, without tilting, I think we're okay. This is good. Get all the way back there, you can see that. So let's top it off where it should be, and then we'll do an inspection there. We'll see where it goes, how high it looks on the camera. We're about to turn this on. I've got the hoses reversed. We've got a level generator. This is exactly the amount of oil that's supposed to go in there, so it should not overflow. All right, here we go. We're going to turn it on, and we're going to fill up the oil now, and then we'll inspect it with the Borescope camera. Here we go. Turning it on, holding this one down, pulling oil from here, filling up the hose only. Again, we're putting the exact amount of oil that's supposed to go in there. About a quarter left. so it's really slow. I think there's just some kind of air in here or something. I'm watching the inside here if there's any evidence of overflow. So it's doing a pretty good job like slurping it in. So let me pull this out and see how this looks here. Obviously this is overkill for changing oil on this thing. So we're right at the threads. Still finding its way. I mean, we're talking like dropping it in now with drips. Best way is to pre-measure it and then be able to dump and go. So it's slowly working its way on the threads there where it should be. I'm gonna go and call it on that. Again, with this, let me just cap this off. So here is one thing they give you to cap that off, and then you have another cap for the smaller tube. Still see what I'm doing? To cap this off. Again, now we're closing down shop here. So it looks something like this. I would wear gloves because all of these hoses have oil all over them. If you choose to do any of this. Again, this is a small version of what it's going to be when you go to your car. We got some temperature coming from the pump from just that little few minutes. And this is not even a quart of oil we were exchanging back and forth. So all that should be thought about as you watch my demonstration here. The pump does have a slurp capability, so there's really nothing left in there, just the bottom layer. I'm gonna put that in my safety bucket because this stuff, oil just gets everywhere. Let's take a quick peek here now with our Borescope camera. There we go, we're rolling, coming in, approaching the entry here. You can see the oil, there it is, puddling up, nice clean looking oil too. See if I can skim over the top of it. Go in, make a left underwater, under oil, and pop your head up, there it is. There's the surface. All right, let's. That's where it should be. Not even sure. Let's switch. Let's pull it out now. Good job. We got it in there. All right, so there you have it. One oil change using this oil pump. This is a small version of what it's going to be like changing your oil with this pump on the larger format with the engine in the vehicle, right? You got 6 quarts. It's going to go at that speed. It should get most of it. You can check it with the Borescope. You're going to have to collect it into a collecting device, obviously. And then you're going to pull it out and then you're going to drain it, right? Generally, the technique of using a fluid extractor on your oil is you don't have to go into the car, you don't have to drag a pan and probably spill everything on your driveway. It just has its pluses and minuses, right? Here, we've already discussed the speed, some of the depth of which the tube can go in there and get it. You're limited to what's available to you. This tube probably is long enough This particular pump though, I find to be a little cumbersome. You need to be right next to your battery to make that work. And you got to keep running back and forth to this switch wherever your connection point is. You've only got a foot to work with there. Instead of being back here by your pump, you now have a hand searching for this switch. That's not very smart. I've seen better arrangements where it Y's out and brings the switch back to you, and over here by the handling area on the fuel transfer systems. And we're about to do a fuel transfer after this clip. So it's very short-sighted. It works. The pump seems to extract. I do like the fact it slurpees out. So that gives you like kind of like a little shot back capability instead of it just going completely dead at that point when it doesn't have any volume. So I guess it's part of its self-priming as well. The pump itself is creating a suction. Good. The speed is indicated 1 to 4 liters per minute. So that's kind of what we were dealing with there. It kind of has to go slow because of the viscosity of how thick the oil is. So the speed, I think, is restricted both mechanically by the substance, and not necessarily as a limiting factor on the pump. So just compare your rates, 1.1 to 4 liters per minute. This is 100 watts, 12 volts. So I'm going to consider this oil change done. I need to shift all this now over to the fuel extraction so I can top off this generator, top off the fuel tank, the portable fuel tank with it, and I'm going to try and capture that as much as I can on video. We've got a special fuel transfer kit designed for vehicle access to the gas tank because you need a special thing for that. So I can't wait to try and get that moving. So I'm going to clean this up, set up for that, and that'll be my next video. So until next time, I see you guys later. Bye.